So when you chop those up and incorporate them in the soil, it does all kind of good things. What's up, Lazy Dog fam? Hope all y'all are having an awesome day. It is Saturday, December 9th here in South Georgia, and I got a really interesting video planned for you today. We're going to talk about some of the awesome stuff we're doing for our soil here in this plot behind me. Going to give you an update on how we're liking that custom cover crop mix that we planted here, and then I'm going to tell you why I think I'm done growing mustard as a cover crop. So let's start with an update of all the awesome stuff we've got going on here in this plot, which is making it even better than it was before. So back in early October, we made our own custom cool season cover crop mix using rapeseed, clover, winter peas, and hairy vetch. Planted it really thick here behind me, came up fast and gave us a nice dense mat of vegetation on this soil. So once that cover crop vegetation had completely covered the plot, we couldn't see a speck of dirt out there. Put our girls on there in the chicken tractor and started bumping them around, moving them once a day. And so currently they're on their second round through this plot. We can see this area right here that's been worked over pretty good. This is what it looks like after 2 rounds of grazing. And after 1 round of grazing, this is what it looks like. This is the lane they were mowing before they finished their first round on this plot, and we cycled them back around. And here you can tell just how well this stuff rejuvenates and regrows. You really can't even tell this spot here has ever been grazed because it grew back so well. So on this particular mix we made, we went really heavy on the rapeseed. So the rapeseed is all this green leafy stuff you see here. You can see some of the vetch and clover and peas out there if you look really hard, but it's pretty rapeseed dominant. So the reason we use so much rapeseed in this mix has to do with 2 things that we learned last year. So one, last year we planted a pre-made cool season cover crop mix from green cover seed. I think it was called the overwintering mix or something like that. It had all the components of our custom mix, but had some grains in there as well. And so we let our chickens graze that mix, and what I found was that they really liked the rapeseed. Now that mix didn't have that much rapeseed in it, but I noticed the chickens would always eat that first each day when we moved the chicken tractor. So that told me, as far as cool season cover crops go, rapeseed is one of the things that the chickens like the best. I think they like it even better than clover. And while the main purpose of this system is to build healthy, fertile soils, we also want to keep the girls happy. We want to plant something that they like to eat, and they really like what I've got out here for them now. I can't remember the last time we gave them any chicken food. Now, some of your online chicken expert warriors out there will tell you that chickens can't just eat this stuff, that they need to be supplemented with some chicken food, but I'm here to tell you that they'll do just fine eating this and not having any chicken food. So reason 1 was to keep the chickens happy. Reason 2 has to do with some conversations that I had with Jim over at Wood Prairie Potato Farm last year, where he was telling me that he and a lot of other organic farmers are using rapeseed as a cover crop because of all its biofumigate properties. Now, we have grown a lot of mustard for biofumigation in the past, but I have never grown rapeseed for that. Hearing that him and a lot of others are doing it kind of caught my ear a little bit. I thought, well, maybe I need to be growing it as well. And speaking of Jim, as a little side note here, I recently received my 2024 Wood Prairie Seed Potato Catalog. Not a very big catalog, but there's a lot of good information in here, a lot of great color photos. I really like these pages kind of in the middle here, where they break down all the varieties they've got, and they've got all these different characteristics of each variety. Really helps you decide which varieties you want to grow. And while they have lots of great varieties, and we'll be trying quite a few of them come February, if I had to recommend just a couple, this Huckleberry Gold variety here is absolutely exceptional. And then probably my favorite of all the varieties I've tried that they carry would be this Baltic Rose Tater here. Absolutely amazing. So I believe they're already taking pre-orders for 2024 shipping. You can tell them when you want your seed potatoes and they'll get them to you just at the right time. You can find them online at woodprairie.com. As always, you can use the code LazyDogFarm to get 5% off. But anyways, back to what we've got going on here. If you've been watching the channel for a while, you've seen me and heard me talk about using mustard as a biofumigant for soils, but this rapeseed can also be used in a similar way. So inside these brassica leaves here are some chemical compounds called glucosinolates, and when you chop those up and incorporate them in the soil, it does all kind of good things. So when you chop that vegetation into the soil, you've got all these chemical pathways taking place, breakdown of all that stuff, and it really helps with soil-borne pathogens. It can help with fungal issues you have, it can really help with nematodes, it can also suppress weeds. Now I don't know if we'll till this plot once the chickens are done with their second round or just put a tarp on it and let it hang out until spring, but it's very important to talk about this biofumigation process as we're telling you why we like this rapeseed so much. And so in the past, when we've used mustard as a biofumigate cover crop, we've used several different varieties. We've used the broadleaf mustard variety, which is one you can eat, so you can harvest some of that in addition to using it as a biofumigate cover crop. We've also used some spicier varieties out there. One year we used something called the trifecta blend, which included white, gold, and brown mustard. We also used something called Caliente 199, which is a variety that a lot of commercial farmers use for biofumigation. And so the spicier the mustard, the more glucosinolates you have in those leaves, and the more effective it is as a soil biofumigant. Now the mustard as a biofumigant has worked very well for us over the years. If you want to do good things for your soil and also have something good to eat, plant you a whole plot of broadleaf mustard, harvest what you want, and then when you're done with it, incorporate it into the soil. But I'm beginning to think that I like this rapeseed even better than mustard, and I'll tell you why. Now while these girls will certainly eat some mustard if I put them on a plot of it, they like this rapeseed a lot better. And I believe this rapeseed is a little more vigorous than mustard is. Hard to explain it without having a side-by-side comparison. But with the rapeseed, we just get a much better mat on the soil there, a little more coverage on the soil, don't get any weeds popping up through there, and sometimes with the mustard, we would get a few weeds. Another reason I like the rapeseed, it seems to be a little more drought tolerant, not quite as thirsty as mustard. Doing some digging around online, I read that those really spicy mustards like the Caliente 199 we grew need some heavy irrigation to give you enough biomass for effective biofumigation. And that probably explains why our Caliente 199 didn't do so great the year we planted it, because we didn't water it enough. But this rapeseed here doesn't seem to take a whole lot of water to give you a lot of good biomass. It also seems to be more cold tolerant than mustard. We've had several freezing nights already and it hasn't bothered this stuff one bit. And it's also more bolt tolerant. It doesn't go to seed quite as fast. So I've grown enough mustard to know that some of these wacky weather changes we get in the winter can cause it to go to seed really quick. We can be, below freezing one night and then 2 days later, be like today, it's 75. Pretty warm out here. That always kind of threw the mustard for a loop and it would start producing seed heads. Haven't seen that yet with this rapeseed, which is a good sign. And from what I've read online, this rapeseed has just as much glucosinolates in it as most of your mustard varieties out there, which means it's just as effective as a biofumigant. I even found one study that was done in Washington on potatoes. They did a side-by-side comparison of the biofumigant properties of rapeseed versus white mustard, and what they found was that the potato crop that followed the rapeseed cover crop had 2 to 3 times less disease issues than the potato crop following the white mustard. And so the studies and data out there tell us that this rapeseed is just as good a biofumigant as a lot of that mustard we've been growing in the past. Now it doesn't have as many glucosinolates as some of those really spicy mustards like the Caliente 199. There's also a commercial one out there called Caliente Rojo. But those seeds are really expensive and probably not practical for a backyard gardener anyway. Oh, and I forgot to mention, rapeseed is dirt cheap. It's one of the cheapest cool season cover crops out there, so you get a lot of bang for your buck with this stuff. So while we've done a lot of stuff with mustard in the past, I think I'll be sticking with this stuff right here going forward. So I hope you enjoyed the video today. I'll be sure to put our link and coupon code for Wood Prairie seed potatoes in the description below so you can go check out their selection. And if you want to learn more about biofumigation, which you can do with mustard or this rapeseed, watch this video right here. We'll break down the process and some best practices so you can learn more about building healthy, pest-free soils. So check that out, and we'll see you next time right here at Lazy Dog Farm.